Hey folks, Dan Frio here, once again live. What I'm going to come with you guys today is there's a lot of people out there, a lot of investors actually looking to buy homes right now. And believe it or not, there's not a lot of people really looking to buy single family homes or their own homes, but investment properties going off the shelves faster than you can count them. But what we want to talk about today is I have some tax strategies here for you, and I have a tax expert that's going to be joining us. First off, though, we got some really good news in the markets. So right through here, mortgage rates are coming down. I told you they would be back in the 6% ranges here soon. So we have that coming in. We also have the bond market is loving whatever's going on in Wall Street right now, because we have the MBS market up 32 points right now. So that's bringing down rates, and we have the equity markets just killing it at this time. So that's basically our economic update for today. But the reason why you guys joined us today is you want to get some tax strategies for anybody out there looking to buy or looking that own real estate as an investment. It doesn't even matter if it's like commercial buildings or any other type of buildings. This is a great strategy for investors out there. This is something you can couple with maybe the DSCR loan to get you into real estate, and then take some tax strategies on the best ways to do all this. So I want to introduce a team here with us, and let's get over to it. If we can bring them on live right now, I'd appreciate it. So we got Kevin. We got a whole staff here, buddy. So how you guys doing? All right. So here's my question for you guys. And this is, we went out to lunch one time. So I just want to introduce you guys to these fellas here joining me. They came, I met them through a system, and they were talking about tax strategies and how real estate investors are missing the boat. Did you realize that, if you have a building, and it doesn't matter if it's a single family home or a big commercial property, there's really some tax benefits to all this. And I didn't realize how big of benefits these are, because in the past I bought real estate and I would depreciate them just like everybody else. And then I met these guys and I'm like, that's interesting. Is it legal? And then, so they came back. So these guys are fantastic. I am actually working with them right now on a project of mine. So that's kind of interesting what's going on right now. But guys, introduce yourself and tell us what you do, and then we'll break it down to exactly what you guys do.
Cool.
So Andrew,
you go first,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. My name is Andrew Kingsley, and I help people with their taxes. So, yeah, it's tax season, and I'm sure we're all thinking, man, I don't want to pay that bill.
Right.
How can I not pay so much tax this year?
Yep.
So what we do is we come in and we check your building out. When you bought your building, let's start there. I'm sorry. Your accountant followed what the IRS told them to do and put it on a depreciation schedule and what we're talking about, residential, 27 and a half years, or for commercial assets, 39. And all that means is your initial investment is going to be divided by 27 and a half or 39, and that's what you can write off that year. But certain pieces and components of your building aren't going to last 27 and a half years. They're going to last 5, 7, or 15 years as designated by the IRS. So we come in and we take your building apart on paper and segregate it into the correct depreciation schedules to get you more depreciation up front and save on your personal income tax return this year.
So what's the difference between, I knew a system called, it was basically a accelerated depreciation. So I know that's a segment, but then there's cost segregation. I guess that's my first question. What's the difference? Because several people, even a couple of the people that I referred to you, they're like, oh, we didn't realize we were doing that, but our accountant's already doing it. So kind of go down that avenue. Is the accountant actually doing what you guys do, or is the accountant doing basically what every accountant would do, just plug it into a schedule and that's what gets provided?
So I'll jump in here. Kevin Cawley, Costa Kev. As a joke, I was going to sign in as Amadeus Jones. I'm glad I didn't do that. I didn't be like this, but yeah, most of our firm's business comes from tax professionals. We'd say 90%. Last month, we did 1,500 studies in a month in January. So we're not doing what they're doing. They're not doing what we're doing. However, there is overlap. So you could get a savvy tax professional who could say, hey, you bought this retail strip center. You own 50% of the parking lot. We're going to put the parking lot on a 15-year schedule. So big components like that, it's not uncommon anymore for them to do that. But the reason you need a costing study is because Andrew and I and our team, we're going to go very granular. So like Andrew said, we're going to take your building apart on paper. We're talking about window treatment, security lighting, IT stuff like carpeting, trim, cabinetry. It's the granular stuff a CPA will definitely miss. Doesn't have the time to comb through this stuff. Doesn't want the liability if they're challenged by the IRS. So we work in conjunction with a client's tax pro and say, here, what are you expensing? What you already put on an accelerated schedule? Everything else leave to us. They're not stepping on our toes. We're not stepping on theirs.
So what systems do accountants use? Do they just kind of, it's a pre-formatted like template that they plug in, say, here's the purchase price, they'll piece it over 27 and a half years or whatever, and that's what you get as depreciation. Can they, because a lot of people, I even talked to a young lady today that has like 5 houses, and she's like, I think my accountant, he does something like that. So how do we know, or how does somebody know, is their accountant actually doing are they getting the biggest bang for their buck from their accountant, I guess is the best way to put it.
Sure. You'll see on the depreciation schedule. So the schedule, typically, if you didn't do any form of accelerated depreciation, it's going to show building $500K, land $100K, right? It's all broken out. Then if you have a savvy CPA, because here's the truth, they're not all created equal, right? Just like you in the mortgage business, there's some real crappy mortgage guys, then there's some really high-end guys, and there's everything in between. Same with any job. So you may have a savvy CPA who you have building, land, parking lot, and maybe one other thing. So they took the initial steps to help you get some accelerated depreciation. And then they partner with group size like us to say, hey, I did a couple of things. Why don't you guys come in, take the building apart on paper, and we're going to throw on anywhere from 30 to 150 things onto the schedule over and above what, right? Because we're going to go granular. That's the thing. So it's an engineered tax service. They need us and we need them. And that's,
does the accountant have the ability to do what you do?
So I would say this, no, flat out no, but I'd also say yes and no. Okay. So here's the funniest thing. Ask any CPA. The most common answer they've ever given their clients is, it depends. Your CPA, when you go through CPA training in college, you go to get your CPA, they don't talk about this stuff. So no, they do not have the credentials to say, let's say you knew what we're doing, right? So you go, I put carpet in a 5-year, parking lot in 15-year, I put this in a 7-year and this. If the client's called out, they're going to go to the CPA and say, what are your credentials to put these things in these buckets, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've just seen it done before. Wrong answer. You can't, right? Even if it's the right thing to do, you can't do it, right? You need the right letters behind your name, right? So Andrew and I are not doing these studies. We go out, take measurements. We take tons of photos to document this stuff, and then measurements, and then send it to the engineers who actually stamp these things and say, hey, this is legit. I put my name behind it. And if you have an issue with it, come talk to us, which we'll defend our studies 100% of the time, no cost to the client.
Got it. So if somebody gets audited and says, this is a little bit squirrely, you guys will go to bat for them and say, here's the study, here's the law, you can get it.
And here's how we came up with the numbers. So it's all about substantiation when you're dealing with the IRS. So we're able to substantiate everything, and we're happy to do so. And but yeah, they don't want the liability, and again, the time. So a study will take 2 to 3 weeks to do, right? One study. So imagine a CPA who has to do all their day-to-day, plus add this on the plate. You're talking about a guy who's going to die young.
Well, let's say, for example, you have somebody, because watching this channel, there might be somebody that has, one property. Sure. There might be somebody that like I talked to somebody this morning, I think they had 6 or 7, then they had some commercial buildings and things like that. Mm-hmm. So what should they check with their accountant first to say, okay, am I getting the benefits or whatever? Because the most likely I'll say in my case, okay, I give all my stuff to the accountant. They do their thing or whatever. So then I look at the depreciation schedule and say, can we pick up some more there? does he even know? Probably, let's say my person doesn't know what to do. Okay. So then we can reach out to you and say, okay, I need a study done on this property. So if somebody has like, for example, let's say me, I have the condo that you guys know about.
Yeah.
So you come into that and I get that depreciation. So it's just one little parcel or things like that. And then you have these people that have these mega malls that are done. So I'd like to bring up some case studies if you guys don't mind, because I know we have them queued up. If we can queue up some case studies. I really want you guys, anybody watching, you have to understand this, because I've talked to several clients of mine over the last couple of weeks, and they're like, oh, I already do this. But then when you really dive into it, they're just taking the normal depreciation in their taxes, and they're not really getting the full benefit. Here, let me say one other piece of the puzzle before I throw it over to you guys. One of the biggest elements that a lot of people, when you have a lot of rental properties, many times you don't qualify to get more and more properties because what's called your debt ratio. You just have too much debt. And when we calculate your income, what we do is on those rental properties, we use a rent roll or a rent schedule. Let's say it that way. So when we pull up the rent schedule, hold on one second. I got to take that out of the thing. I lost my train of thought there for a second. I got things popping up all over the screen. Where was I with the rent schedule? When I bring up the rent, they don't qualify because they have all these write-offs. Well, one piece of this puzzle that people can add back that they don't realize is depreciation. Yeah. So one of the comments I made to a young lady this morning, she's like, well, if I add in too much depreciation, I'll never qualify. And I was like, no, that's not the case, because we as the lender, we add back your depreciation, because it's really you're not stroking a check and sending a check out, to pay your depreciation. It's just a tax. I won't say loophole, but it's a tax benefit that you have if you own real estate. So if you can go over just, what does one of these studies look like? Is there really a lot of savings to it? Those are the things that really would excite people. So if we can pop up.
Real quick, Dan, pop that up. But I want to tell you, kudos on you. So one of my personal largest clients owns 650 collision centers. Okay. He's at the bank. We did a ton of studies for him. He's at the bank, goes, Kevin, you screwed me. I go, what's going on? He goes, I'm trying to refi my home, and they're saying I don't make enough money. And I said, put this banker on the phone. And I had to explain, you got to add this depreciation back. This guy makes plenty of dough. So I want to bring up for you, kudos to you, but not all, back to not all CPAs are created equal. Not all lenders are. They totally missed that. So, all right, you got that up. I just wanted to give you a kudos on that.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so scroll up just a little bit higher so we can see all the guts underneath. If you would, a little bit. Scroll up a little bit higher.
Who's controlling this? You or Andrew or?
I maybe it's not me. Here, I'll see if I can do it on my end. I think it's Patrick on his end.
Oh, that's cool. I was just curious.
Okay, there it is. All right, scroll down to the case studies. Keep scrolling. You're going to see where it says case studies. Keep going. There we go. Right through. Keep going up. Keep going up. I want to see. Nope. Keep going up. No, the other way. Up. Like case studies to the top.
I guess down. Tell them down.
Bring the case. Yeah, bring it down. Yeah, those are what I want to see right there. Bring it down. Right. A little bit further. No, the other way. Up.
Residential rental.
Stop. Okay. We got it. Okay. So go through one of these with me. Just like, for example, probably a lot of people watching this video has rental properties. So residential rental, would that be a good study to bring up?
Yeah. I mean, let's click it and we can walk through this.
See where this takes us. Just let him know where you want him to stop.
I would stop there. I'd say I'd stop right there. And look, actually, if you look at this building information side, it's the left side of the screen. Property type, residential rental. Right below that, purchase price, $260K. Very common misconception. People think they have to have $1 million plus basis in a property. Not true. We're looking at a $260K property here, right? So, like Andrew mentioned earlier, if you have an accountant that is not privy to this, he's going to take your $260K. Let's just assume land was taken out and divide it by 27.5. If you do that math, it equals 9487. Let's call it $9,500.
Okay.
All this would mean is every year from year 1 to year 27 and a half or up until you sell, you could reduce your taxable income by $9,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Andrew mentioned, what we do is we say, wait a minute, not every part, piece, and component's going to last 27 and a half years. So we're going to take your building apart on paper. And we'll say, hey, the flooring, the cabinetry, the trim, the XYZ, right? And if we're looking at this, tax year studies 2019, client's tax rate's 37%. Instead of a $9,500 deduction, summary of benefits, we could go over here. Thank you. 5-year property, 38,000, 15-year property. Actually, Patrick, go down to this pie chart. So instead of $9,500 write-off, look at this. 5-year property, 38,532 in depreciation, plus 15-year property, 20,956. Let's add those together. 38,532 plus 20,956. Instead of your depreciation being $9,500, it's going to be $54,488. Call it 60 grand, right? So it's 6 years of your normal depreciation. We're going to roll in a ball and give to you today. Boom, up front. I often mention J.G. Wentworth. We all know the commercial. It's my money. I want it now. Yeah. So a similar thing. It's your depreciation. Take it up front. The whole point of cost seg is time value of money. Money today is worth more than money down the line. So pay the government less today. When you sell, we can get into, there's recapture. Whether you did cost seg or not, depreciation is always recaptured. But pay them less today, take that money, reinvest, purchase more property, pay down debt, put towards principal. Do something with it. So when you do sell and that recapture occurs, you're not worried about it because you made money kind of out of thin air if you think about it. Another way to put it, and Andrew, you like this, was it's kind of like an interest-free loan from the government. They say, hey, Dan Frio, you'd get this depreciation anyway. Do the cost seg study. We're going to front load it. We'll give it to you today. When you sell, you're going to pay it back, but at 0% interest, right? And if you never sell, guess what? You never pay it back, right?
Walk through that again. So for this case study, I got some questions for you that I'll ask for. And if people are on the side, is my audio or video distorted? I think somebody's saying I need a new camera. I got low quality. It might be my feed.
You know what? It happened earlier when it was in the big picture. You're fine. You're fine now.
Okay. I was gonna say I got a high def camera and I got a high def camera and everything's cooking on my end, but sometimes my office will just kind of slow down a little bit. So if I get a little funky on my video, just bear with us. Because somebody said on the side, and then one other question about mortgage rates. But so how many years can I deduct that 50,000 for? Did you say 6 years?
So in this example, so we're going to go in the weeds. Okay. I don't want to go in the weeds, but this is important. Yep. President Trump did the Tax Cuts Jobs Act, instated September 27th, 2017. That's when he signed it into law. What he said is any property purchased today, September 27th, 2017, up until December 31st, 2022, will get 100% bonus depreciation. That doesn't mean if you bought a building for $1 million, you get $1 million write-off. It means you buy a building for $1 million and you get 20% of that qualifies for accelerated depreciation, $200K. You'd get the $200K up front today, year one, right? Okay. Up front. Now what's happening is the Tax Cuts Jobs Act is tailing out. So he brought it up. So we had 5 years of 100% bonus. Now 2023, any property acquired in 23, doesn't matter when you do the cost seg. Anything acquired in 23 gets 80% of the numbers we're talking about up front. The remaining 20% over the next 5 years. Anything bought in 2024 is 60% bonus depreciation, right? So 200K, they get 60K of it up front, and the remaining, or 60% of it up front, and the remaining over the next 5 years. And same thing, now it's 2025, we're at 40% bonus depreciation. So in these numbers here, we're talking about the 5 and 15-year property, the 60K.
Yeah.
If this study was on a property or the same property acquired in, let's say, 2024, they'd get 60% of 60K up front and then the remainder over the next 4 years.
Pretty
so yeah,
sweet.
we went into the weeds. Yeah. Now
I never knew that. That is unbelievable. I guess
So-
I'll say.
for your viewers, a very common misconception, though, this is a good point for everyone. I get guys, well, I want to do the study now because we're at 40% and next year it's going to be 20%, right? Not true. When did you buy your property? Well, 2021. No, dude, you get 100% bonus depreciation because you bought in 21 during those years. So we do believe Trump will bring that back, 100% bonus depreciation. Boy, did it stimulate the economy. It was kind of the heyday, if you will, especially for guys like Andrew and I. But there's still benefit here. And again, it's all about time value money, and everyone's each unique situation. And
Right.
because you own a rental property doesn't mean this is the right idea for you. What's your hold time? How many investors you got? There's a lot of moving factors.
Gotcha. So this is just a small loan because what was the purchase price? Like 250 or something like that. That's how much-
260K. Yeah, that's
that's how much-
smaller.
We do have a question. If you guys wouldn't mind answering that thing, I'd be more than happy to read it if you want me to.
No. I got it. If you pursue cost segregation to accelerate the depreciation, let's say you got to accelerate over 5 years. Would it benefit the investor to sell the property after that 5 years through 1031 exchange? All right, back to the weeds.
All righty.
So before bonus depreciation, all cost seg is doing is taking real property and changing it to personal property, right? That's what a cost seg is doing. And before bonus depreciation, yes, you could 1031 the real property and the personal and do an exchange, no problem. Now that we have bonus depreciation, you will always have to recapture the 5, 7, and 15-year assets that we segregate out, always. So the answer could be yes, could be no. Some guys would say, okay, cool. You deferred 100K in income tax for me through accelerated depreciation. I'm going to 1031 from this $1 million building to a $2 million building. They know they're going to get the hit on the 100K recapture, right? But then what they'll do is cost seg the new building they traded into and offset that recapture as well.
So just continue to push it. So can you just continue to do this trend until kind of the end, and then at the end you got to bite the bullet or just keep the property?
So yeah, now Andrew was on a call with me with a very high net worth client of ours, and his strategy is called defer, die. Okay, because when you pass, these guys create a huge depreciation bubble. Depreciation is not recaptured at death, so they buy and depreciate the crap out of these things, and then they pass and they give it to their heirs. Depreciation resets. They inherit the assets at market value, and they can do it all over again.
Wow.
So,
And thus is kind of cool. The cool name you guys have, the website. Don't wait, depreciate. So their website is and I'll have all this stuff for you guys at the end of the video for anybody watching. So, and you guys will be able to contact these guys. Okay, so that's a small building. So if anybody else has any questions, please pop those up. I mean, my apologies on this one, guys. I didn't post this YouTube live event until earlier today. I thought it was posted, and then Andrew and I were going back and forth, and I'm like, oh boy, I forgot to post it. So my apologies. This probably isn't going to get the biggest bang for its buck.
No
But we'll do more. We'll do more of these. I really want to go to a site with you guys, and you show us here's what we do, and here's what we do. So let's pull up one more if you guys don't mind. So some of the people that we talk to, they might have like a little commercial unit or something like that. So is there a study that we can go to that would show maybe like a little industrial park or something like that? Pat, if you maybe go back one screen to the case studies and then just pull up another study, if you would. Guys, which one would be kind of relevant to probably most likely who's watching this video?
are we able to share our screen?
I had to that's why I was trying to get you guys on here earlier so you guys could get control of things, but I can't because we joined too late. So my apologies on that. Something we can pull up.
On this site, you got a bank, triple net, fast food. Pat, can you scroll down? No, just investors, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Maybe we could go to my site, costsegkev.com. So Dan, you'll notice we all work with CSSI, but we like our individualities. So if you go to cost.
Pat's popping that up. I will go over here and I will pull up another question for you.
Cool. Don't know if this was asked, but can cost seg to be applied to a condo and mid-rise building? Yes, it can.
Absolutely.
So for John, just so you know, typically in condos, there's no land allocation. Someone usually has a land lease. So whatever you bought your condo for is your basis. And obviously, if you live in the condo, you can't do cost seg. If you're renting that condo, by all means, yes. And what we do is come in your condo and we'd say, hey, what kind of flooring you got? What kind of finishes do you have? Et cetera, et cetera. Do you have is the plumbing and the heating and air fixtures inside, or is it all boiler in the basement? And it would work the same as any other building. So short answer, yes, we could do it on a condo. We're doing a few right now, actually, Andrew and I. So happy to review your case personally and run the numbers and get you a summary.
And I'll give you all their information at the end of this video. Kevin, he's having a tough time. If you can look at the private chat, maybe plug in your link there, and then he can pop that up, and we'll bring up some other studies. Just so that anybody watching right now, the markets are looking good on my end. I'll be doing my ending video or closing bell video here shortly. I'll be posting that. Mortgage rates, we are back down in the high sixes again, so that's good news there. I think a lot of the Trump tariffs and immigration things and stuff like that are finally starting to settle the markets down a little bit. But okay, Kev, back to you, buddy.
All right, so Patrick, if you scroll down, this site's being updated as we speak. So scroll down a bit more, and here's some client buildings. I'd say keep going. Or what I could do is, Patrick, what's your email? I'll pull up a perfect property for this right now. There you go. Sorry, guys. There's a car alarm going off outside my office. If you could hear it. Okay, Patrick, can you give me your email, bud? And I'll send you guys. So Dan, you want what? What kind of asset and what kind of size? I have access.
Just something like, most of the people probably watching this video don't have bazillions of dollars. So maybe like a small commercial building or an office building or something like that somebody, just a smaller place, $1 million, $2 million at the most, something like that.
Yep. Give me one sec here. Alrighty.
Hang with us, folks. We're just trying to get you some case studies so you guys can see the actual benefits of this. So let's say, for example, somebody on, you guys might know this on the top of your head, somebody on they make $150,000 a year, that condo scenario you guys went through. So now they're getting a $50,000 deduction. How much more is that putting back in their pocket?
Quite a bit. I mean, you don't got to pay tax on 50 G's. So depending on their tax rate, right, it could be anywhere. If they're making 100K, I think that's maybe a 20% bracket. So half of that, you save them 10 grand actual tax.
You're going to get a check back from the IRS for $10,000 more than you otherwise would have been. That's why I asked these guys on here. I'm like, I don't think a lot of people, when I'm discussing this with people, they're like, oh, I already depreciated. I'm like, I don't think you're depreciating the way you should be depreciating or the way the tax laws allow you to. And guys, this is one of the reasons why too, that, a lot of people say, well, the wealthier are getting wealthier because they get all these tax breaks and everything else. Well, you probably do too, but you just don't know about it. So, and maybe your accountant doesn't know about it as well. So that's why, we're really trying to bring this to the forefront so you guys understand. I want you to understand everything real estate. So that's, So that's basically what we're talking about today, because a dollar saved is a dollar earned better off. So let's get anything. Are we almost there?
Yeah, we are. And then Dan, just to correct you, hold on, Pat, at the rate update. Okay, cool. You can get a check back from the IRS. However, you have to create a net operating loss, right? So if you make 100 grand, we'd have to create a loss of 100 grand plus to get you a check back. So just to make sure everyone's on the same page, what we're doing is reducing taxable income, which reduces income tax. So really the way we're increasing cash flow is by keeping more money in your pocket. Just to be clear, I don't want anyone assuming, I'm going to do cost seg and get a check for 100 grand. It is possible, but certain scenarios. Let's put it that way.
Rare. Yeah.
All right. Are we got something queued up?
I shot something to Pat just now, no biggie. And this is actually a new prospective client of Andrew's.
So here's the interesting thing. How did you guys get into this?
We both have different stories. Andrew, why don't you go first?
I know their stories, folks. This is interesting.
Yeah. So I was a commercial carpenter for 20 years, and I hurt my foot and I couldn't do that anymore, but I was qualified because I was a general contractor to document buildings. So I started my first apprentice from carpentry contacted me to do some site visits for cost segregation. That's Kevin. And he's just brought me and got me more involved on the marketing side. And that's what I do now.
Gotcha. And then we ran into each other at the train station a couple weeks ago. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, where you been? And that's what we were like. So I'm like, I got free spots available for you guys in a couple weeks. I need you on because this. A lot of people might not watch it now, but if we promote it, get it out there to the people, even if we get a handful of people, my whole goal is I plant seeds every day. And if I can teach people something, and that's my whole goal here. So now we're talking tax benefits, and that's the whole point right now. This is how people with money keep their money and make more money. Okay. Mm-hmm. So these are why, we come up with these strategies. All right. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is perfect. So here's an array of cost bases. So if you start on the way left, you have property number, that's just code for us. Property name, so there's the addresses. Purchase dates, so we're all over the board here. And then cost basis. So here's a 820 up top, and then you go down 230K, 223K. So these are relatable numbers, I'd assume, for those on the call.
Yeah.
Column next to that is we're showing you the depreciation from accelerated depreciation. So this is just from cost seg. It's not from your standard deduction. So these are big numbers. We take that depreciation, the next column to the right is called tax savings. You see that? And we're taking the depreciation expense generated by Andrew and I, multiplying it by our client's tax rate. Andrew, was this 20% or 37%? Do you remember?
This example's at 37.
Okay. We multiply, so client's high income earner, they're in the highest federal tax bracket. So you take the accelerated depreciation column times 37%, that will give you the tax savings. So this is what people would save on their income tax. And now what's cool, Dan, Andrew and I, we work these things up. We send them to the client and say, here, run this by your CPA, because we don't know everything our clients have going on. We have no clue. So it's kind of like, here, we could create a pretty big loss for you. Can you even use it? We have no idea. Andrew and I are just, in our nerdery with our calculators doing things. Yeah. We don't know if this guy's divorced. He has a big loss from a bad investment. So we always push to get in front of our clients' tax advisors, because they may say, don't do all 4 of these. You don't need them all this year. Just do number 1. And then next year, do number 2 and 3, and then next year 4. Or they may say, don't do any this year, save them all for next year. You're going to have a big year. So Andrew and I stay out of this process. We kind of, the way I say it and the way Andrew said it once, and I thought it was brilliant, is we're going to create a chess piece for you, which is this. You and your tax advisor decide when and how to play it. And that's very well put.
Got it. Is this one client?
This is one client. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I should say too, to get to that point, estimates are free. So even if your CPA says it's not for you, it won't cost you a penny to get to that decision. So no one should be afraid to check.
So just try it. So if you have a single family rental, you can do it. If you have 4 units, you can do it. And if you have a strip mall, you can do it.
Yes.
So some of these buildings though, that you probably did a commercial when I had lunch with you guys, you were talking about you just did some major places that were like millions and millions and millions of dollars. What are some of those savings look like? That's got to be intriguing. I mean, it's like probably hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I just presented a group, and their one asset, I'll pull up, the cost basis is $109 million, and it's one property, and it's a hot springs in Colorado. So it's all these pools, right? Where like people take a dip, and so their first year net benefit was $18 million. So their depreciation was in the tens of millions, and their net was $18 million. I mean, it's a great case study, if you will. But Andrew and I, just so people on the call know, we don't care whether you're buying your first property or you have $1 billion portfolio. We treat everyone the same.
Yep.
If we could help you, we want to help you. The whole goal is, I don't care who's in office, left, right, whatever. The government will mismanage your money. So keep it in your pocket as much as you can. And that's why Andrew and I do so well with what we do, is because passionate about it. And I mean, come on, what's your other option? Just give it to these guys? No way.
Right. Yeah.
Not for me. Not for me.
So how does somebody check, I guess, let's say my accountant finishes my taxes this year, and I look at it and I see depreciation. It's like, whatever. How would I ask that person if they don't know that their accountant doesn't know what they're talking about? How did they kind of figure this all out? Maybe I'm asking that wrong. How do you go to your accountant saying, hey, did you do that accelerated depreciation? And if they don't have a clue what they're talking about, most of them are going to say, oh yeah, we took the maximum depreciations you're allowed. So how do they go in and figure out, no, they didn't?
So you would ask, hey, ask your tax advisor, can I get a copy of my federal tax depreciation schedules?
Okay.
If you want, I can send one to Pat. And it'll show building costs, X, 27.5 in this. There's a year column, so it shows what depreciation method you're using. And now if you get a depreciation schedule where it says building costs X, this is at 27.5, and then you have a bunch of things at 5, 15 year property, they probably did a cost seg. That's how you would know.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
But again,
got it. Makes sense.
Like you said it perfectly. Someone may say, hey, are we doing are we maxing out depreciation? If a CPA is not familiar with this, they are going to say, yeah, we take the most allotted every year. So a big part of our job is providing CPE. So we talk to and speak in front of CPAs nationwide. They do get continuing education credits from when we speak. And you would not believe the amount of CPAs who go, I've heard of costing. I didn't know it worked like this. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But again, they're not going through this in school. You know what I mean? It's an engineered tax service. So I don't fault any tax advisor for not knowing about it. They're not exposed to it. So part of our job is educating. I mean, the biggest part of our job, educating tax advisors. Here's what it is. Here's how it works. Here's how it could benefit your clients. And we don't sell on fear, but we do like to tell people, hey, if your biggest client is on a golf course and his buddies golfing with paid zero tax because they did this crap, it's not a good look, Hey, why didn't you bring it up to me? I've been buying buildings for 10 years. Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen guys get fired. I've seen a lot of ugly things happen. So,
well, that's what happened. After I met with you guys, I was like, I bring it up to a lot of my clients, and some of them have no idea what I'm talking about. And I'm like, well, you should look into it. And then others are like, oh yeah, my accountant already does it. And then the biggest thing is, I just want to make sure that they know where to check it and how to check it to see I am getting all the benefits that I need. And if I'm not, it's perfect tax time too. That's why I had you guys. I met these guys back at the end of last year, and I'm like, let's prep this for around tax time. And then I forgot to publish it all over the place. So that's on me, guys. But the next video, I promise you, we'll go out and about to see some properties and do things like that. But let's bring up one more question that we have. Usually we have a slew of questions. We can't even get to them. So again, I'll take blame for this one. But if you guys can take this one. Oh, maybe this is on me. Hold on a second. Let's check what they're asking.
I think
Hello from Washington.
That's you.
What is it?
I think this one's for you. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello from Washington State. I'm about to get pre-approved about $335,000. No more. What would be expecting closing costs and monthly payment be on 7% interest rate, 3.5% FHA? So you're in the state of Washington. Closing cost would be, if you use us as the lender, normally we don't have any closing costs. The cost you'll have is on section B of your loan estimate. There'll be an appraisal, credit report, and most likely like a tax service fee. That should be probably about $800 on section B of your loan estimate. And then the rest of it's going to be basically title fees and setting up your escrow. So that's something that you might want to ask your realtor. What's some common title charges for your area for $335,000? And that's basically it. So when you're using us, I just did two pre-approvals this morning, sent those out to a client in Indiana and in Texas. Both realtors called me and they said, okay, what's your fees? And I said, we don't have any lender fees in section A. And they were like, you got to be kidding me. So don't know if we're one of the only ones that do that, but if you're looking for somebody that can help you nationally, hopefully I can be your guy. So thank you so much for that. So guys, so what do people do for the next step? They're like, okay, this is cool. It's tax time. We could probably just pop just the three of us up, back up, Pat, if you can just pop the three of us up. So now it's tax time. And you're getting ready to do your taxes, or you already got your taxes kind of back and you haven't filed yet. What should they do? Is it too late to reach out to you now?
No, it's
Okay.
not. I would go. Sorry, go ahead, Kev.
No. I was
Okay.
I was gonna say simple, but yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not too late. Right now, our internal deadline's March 1st. Is that right, Kev, for the April filing? But they push it back usually. Right?
So the good news is for our team, Andrew and I do a lot of volume. Dan, I got to get your camera. Look how crappy my camera is. But for our
everybody's
team,
saying mine's distorted. And I'm like, I think it looks
the
pretty
best to me.
Yeah.
Mine's just on the. It's just my laptop, but new camera for sure. Anyway, for our team who does massive volume, there's no deadlines for us. 0. So you could be 2 days ahead of 2 days before the deadline. You get us the numbers we need. We'll run analysis. We can do it for you in time. Simply put. So deadlines don't exist for our group specifically, given the volume we bring to the firm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So really just go to don'twaitdepreciate.com and click on get a quote, fill out the information, and we'll be back to you within a couple days with a preliminary estimate. We can move from there, give you something to take to your CPA and see if it fits into your overall tax plan.
Pretty cool. Is there any areas you don't cover? Or are you basically all over the country?
Not for profit.
It's got to be
churches or not for profit hospitals. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got to be a tax entity, so we can't work with any government buildings. And
gotcha. I get it. We got another question. That's for me. That says she's charging $13,000. Well, you know where to find me. Just as soon as this video is over, feel free to give us a call at our 800 number, and I'll most likely be the one picking up. So if you're out there, JGR, just give me a call here. Let me see if I can pull up my caption stuff to get pre-qualified. You can go here, but just give me a call. I'll give you my number. It's 844-775-5626, or down below in the description, there should be my phone number down there as well. Or if not on our website, please reach out to me or email me at dan@therateupdate.com. I'd love to work with you and save you. What did they say on here? How much they were being charged? This is the crazy thing on how much some of these lenders are 4%, $13,000 in points. So I'd love to help you out. So Guys, Patrick, if you can bring up their website once again, it is cool. Don't wait, depreciate.com. If you guys can't remember that, I don't know what's wrong with you. But Pat, if you can bring that up and just show them down at the bottom of the screen where they can log in and put in their information, or at least put in an application for a consultation. I don't know if you're still with us. Let's get over to here. Let me see if I'm going to completely mess this up. I probably am, but I was waiting for Pat to bring that up. Pat, if you can bring that up, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and real quick too, the way you do this with the questions being brought up, I'm impressed. Let's talk.
Thanks. This is a lot of streamers do this. Sometimes I do it because people need. I want people to ask questions, and sometimes I'll get on here and there's more questions than I can even take. And then again, my fault on this one. I didn't post this until this morning, so we didn't have a lot of traction coming into it. So that is on me, guys. But if you guys want to schedule a consultation with these guys, just go to don'twaitdepreciate.com and just scroll down to the bottom. You're going to fill in all your information right through there. They'll be in touch with you. Anything else anybody should know going into this from you guys? You there?
Andrew, thoughts, my friend?
Anything else they should know going into it? Well, if you don't like paying your taxes, fill that form out, and we'll give you something to take to your CPA.
I think I'll end on this, Dan. Here's what's cool with Andrew and I and our little team and in our company is we don't jam this down anyone's throat. It's a very consultative thing where, again, like I mentioned earlier, let us run the numbers. There's no cost. We'll give you a full-on engineering grade summary. And of course, we'll walk through it and bring it to your tax guy or get your tax guy involved with us. And if it's a go, we do it. And if it's not, there's no hard feelings, So,
and that's honestly, that's why one of the reasons I like you guys, I hate pushy salespeople. And this is what I do on my channel. I'm like, hey, if I can help you, God bless you. Call me, give me a clue. The people that I'm like, okay, if you know the mortgage business and all you're looking for is the best rate in the whole country, good luck to you. I want to work with somebody basically that needs my help. They basically, from application to keys in their hand, they just need some hand holding. Yeah, the rate is competitive. Yeah, this is that. I don't charge 4 points like that person did on there, $14,000, $17,000. I want to educate people. I want to know them to know what they're getting into. And I don't want any pushy salespeople, because it's like, life is tough enough right now. We don't need people hounding us. So, go to, again, don'twaitdepreciate.com, scroll down to the bottom of it, put in your application. The worst case scenario, they might come back and say, you know what, we really can't save you any money. So, but I think you're going to be surprised. You're going to see a lot of savings there. And then it's up to you to decide, do I go through this or not? A lot of people are just reluctant. What is, let's say for somebody that just has a single family home that's a rental property, is it like $5,000, $10,000 to do one of these reports, or is it reasonably priced?
I would say, so it depends what you got. I just got a new client, a high-end attorney, a personal injury attorney, does very well. He had two properties, 200K and 234K, way up north, Highland Park. And he said, hey, this group will do reports for me, $800 a piece. And I said, that's cool, but it's not an engineered cost-seg study. It's there's 5 different versions of cost-seg. Andrew and I in our firm CSSI, we only do the highest end. It's called engineering based. Tons of documentation. So I said, hey, for what you got going on, maybe go with them. And he goes, well, I did all these improvements and I want to maximize. I said, all right, that's cool, but we're not going to charge you $800. So just so everyone on the call knows too, we are not the cheapest firm, nor do we want to be, but we also don't want to be the 4 points guy, right? So we want to be economical, but who wants to be known as the cheapest? I mean, you don't want to be known as the cheapest loan guy.
Right. I don't. That's what I pigeonholed myself when I was like the rate update. So now everybody just watches rate. So they'll call me a rate. And I'm like, guys, if rate's the only thing that you have, the only determination you have, I don't want to be part of it, because I want to form a relationship, a partnership. I want to be on your side when it comes to this. I don't want to be known for, just the rate guy, because sometimes I don't have the best rate, and, I don't want to lose a client because, somebody else, they're $500 cheaper than me, I'm going to go with them. I don't even want to start that client, because it's like, you're just wasting my time. And I want to work with those that really need some help. And there's a lot of people out there. So I hope you guys, if you're watching this video, I hope you give these guys a shot at it. If you have some investments property, you have nothing to lose. Check it out. If they can't save you any money, you wasted 5-10 minutes on a consultation call. If they can help you out, you might be able to save $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in write-offs that you didn't otherwise know about. So I appreciate you guys coming on. And next time we schedule a little bit more in advance. And I'd love to come out and see you guys go through a couple properties so people understand what you do. It's not just like, okay, here's the property. You walk through like an appraiser. You really go through in detail and detail the house out. And again, if you want just a shitty job done, use somebody that's $500, $600, $700. If you really want a good job, plus if you have any issues with the IRS, I guarantee that $800 person isn't going to defend you with the IRS. So that can be a royal pain in the ass too, because I went through one audit in my life and I hope to never do it again, because I hate to say it, the IRS, they didn't know what they were doing. I had to have my accountant come in and explain to them tax law, and then we got out of it after 6 months. So it was brutal.
I was audited. I was a union carpenter for 11 years right out of high school. Yeah. That's where I met Andrew. I was audited with a W-2 job, no investments, anything.
Yeah.
You talk about a waste of time. It's like you pull the taxes out. Like,
no, I get it. It was the most frustrating thing I ever went through, because you're sitting there talking to, like on our side, you might have an underwriter that doesn't really know the guidelines, and that's what drives you nuts. And it's like, so then you try to explain to them, they get all pissy about it because they don't want to be proven wrong. So I finally had to bring my accountant in, and I had to pay, he had to go in for like a week. So I had to pay my accountant's wages for a week. I spent a ton of money, and they got me for one deduction. They said, you didn't qualify for this, so you didn't get that deduction, and this and that and this and that. It was like $200 over the whole scheme of things. So that's worth the price of what people would pay for your services anyways. So what I was getting at is, if you get into an audit, I'd rather have somebody on my back that knows and has the documentation than somebody else that's like, oh, I don't know, it was on an Excel spreadsheet, figure it out. So that's why I reached out to you guys. Everything about you guys kind of clicked. You guys are nice guys. You know what you're doing. You're not pushy, and you got a fantastic product. So I can't thank you enough for being on here with me. But next time, I promise you, I want to get out there and look at some homes, walk through them, and make it a little more exciting of a video for you guys and the viewers as well. So thank you enough. And Andrew, I'll probably see you around town one of these days. He lives in the city right next to me. I ran into him at the train station a couple weeks ago, and that's what prompted us. Is like, hey, we got to do this video. So thanks, buddy. Hopefully I'll see you at the train station here soon one day.
Thanks,
thanks guys for joining me, and can't wait to see you again. And hopefully you get a lot of tax savers from the channel. All righty.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next time,
Take care. Have a good night, folks. Take it easy.